Then, somewhere along the way, the big platforms moved in. Last year, $200 billion flowed upwards, away from the people who actually play. This year, they take it back. YOM, where players play games straight from your PC, not a data center in Virginia. Meet Tyler Pemberton. Yes, this looks dramatic, but he's perfectly fine. Tyler's offline. His PC isn't. 47 players streaming from his GPU right now. Even AFK, Tyler's rig is pulling its weight. He's making money in his sleep. Maybe this is what happens when gamers finally take control of their own world. Turn your idle GPU into passive income. YOM.net. Eat, sleep, earn, repeat.
Yeah. Y'all tell. Listen. For this forecast failure from a fractional perspective, while the DFs assemble infrastructure collective, they type panic posts, but the pipeline's perfected. Continuous deployment, every patch resurrected. They predict the collapse like a gambler in debt, but the code base is granted. Every block in the connects, they stuck spectating demos, stuck buffering scenes. We deploying full servers like a military regime. Packets fly faster when the fiber stay braided. Latency evaporates the moment it's activated. Cloud gaming empire, GPU clusters ignite, rendering frames so smoother pixels travel like light. They try to short vision like a desperate trader, but the protocol stable like a planetary equator. Critics throw stones, but the fortress encrypted. Exploit attempts get instantly evicted. While they scroll timelines rehearsing disaster, we compile the future with a silicone master. Server racks hum like a turbine engine. Every night online, that's a grid-wide ascension. They called it vaporware when the roadmap was spoken. Now Web 2 portals open straight into the token. Bandwidth kingdoms where the gameplay streams. Ownership coded inside digital dreams. They tried to eclipse it with narrative shading, but the network glow bright like a nebula blazing. Leaderboard shifting, the metrics they rising. When the ecosystem expands, it becomes self-surprising. Top 20 orbit, that trajectory's plotted. Global node grids make the takeover logic. From Web 2 gateways to Web 3 dominion. YOM run the servers like the internet's engine. Now salute to the captains, keep steering the vision. Jorid at the helm with pushing the mission to completion. Jeff shaped the experience, the ecosystem cohesive. Andy run the operations, every rollout strategic. Roll high, write the code where the protocols living. Jorid spread the signal so the whole world listen. Respect to the builders, the mods, the believers that stayed. When YOM takes the throne, remember who paid.
That was a pretty cool video. Somebody from our community posted that video up just a few bits ago in our Telegram group. I was like, man, that is really good. I'm going to go ahead and share it. I think what made me laugh the most as soon as I saw Andy's picture, I was like, that's AI generated Andy, all right. They made me look very guapo, much more handsome than this actually looks. I appreciate it. Thanks to the AI. Thanks everybody for joining us. A special broadcast we haven't done on Wednesday evening in Europe, where a fair bit of our community is. It's about midnight out there. but we had a lot going on at GDC, and felt like and then the first day of the festival would be good for us to come online and talk about what we've seen so far. We've still got obviously more of GDC to happen for the rest of the week, but YOM is there making a big presence. I'm not there myself. It's a little weird covering the convention but not being at the convention like I was last year. But our team is there, and they're having all kinds of meetings and shaking hands and showing off the Walter GG stuff. So if you don't know who we are yet, or just kind of finding us for the first time, we're just starting to find us because we just recently announced our TG date on March 25th. And that brought a lot of people to our door for the first time. So we have a decentralized cloud gaming network. We have a cloud gaming network, and cloud gaming is really where a lot of the industry is going, realizing that we can reach a much larger audience if we use a cloud to stream the games. But previous cloud gaming and current legacy versions of cloud gaming is done through a centralized server. It's a big Amazon building built somewhere. And there's a lot of problems with that. It's very, very expensive, obviously, to build one of those data centers and then to operate it and compete with AI who's trying to buy cycles out of those same data centers. So it's expensive to do. There's just latency issues because you're trying to stream games out of one building to all the different users, and just the pipeline itself constricts some of that streaming, and then distance away from the end user can be a huge problem too. So what we did was we said wisely, a decentralized model will work really well here. So if we have computers at the edge, which we do, people's home gaming rigs at home, if we use those gaming rigs, put them together into a decentralized network and stream games from that network to the end user, we can find a node closest to the end user who's hitting the game from any website or any kind of portal like Walter GG to play the game. And the latency has gone down a tremendous amount because we're very local. The stream is coming very local. And then secondly, it's a whole lot less expensive. It's about 7% of what you would find in the big systems, because again, we're just taking the gaming rigs that are out there that are sitting idle. People go to work or they go to sleep at night. Those machines are just sitting idle. So we said, let's use up those game cycles, and we'll pay the people who are having a gaming rig at home that's idle. Now your gaming rig is earning you passive income, which of course is a huge benefit to someone who's got a gaming rig that sits idle at night when they're away for the day. And it decentralizes revenue, right? It takes some revenue away from the major players and puts it in the hands of the gamers, who are just going to take that money and put it back into the gaming industry, purchase more games. If you saw recently, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. If you saw recently our CEO, Yorit, who you saw in that amazing video, posted recently. Let's share his tweet, and you can see exactly what we're talking about here. So we are able to stream through our DPIN network at it's about 7% of the cost. Oh, I hit my face. I want to show my hair. Nope, that way. There you go. So it's about 7% of the cost. And again, we get 60 frames per second at 22 millisecond latency, which is, again, anything. Most cloud gaming systems are struggling to get underneath 30. So we have it capped at under 22, but we've seen some streams go at like 6 and 7 milliseconds. It's ridiculously fast when you're coming very, very local the way that we are. We have many nodes that are active inside of Europe right now. We have some in North America, some out in Europe, one in Australia, some in South America. So we're expanding. And for people who think maybe they want to earn passive income with their gaming rig, we have the nodes. The first Genesis, there's still some available, I think. If you go to our partners at freshminers.com and look for YOM, you'll find us. You'll see those units are available. But not really here to talk about. We're going to talk about GDC. We're very excited, obviously, to be at GDC and to be showing what our technology can do. And a lot of what's happening at GDC, I'm going to tie back to why our thesis is being proven out by what some of the bigger players are doing with how they're showing up at GDC themselves. So GDC, as I say, is happening. Today was the first day of the festival, but leading up to the first day of the festival, there's still all these meetings that happen, all these different convention happenings, I guess. There are smaller. We are attending as part of the UK's delegation. So many countries are sending over delegations these days so they can lure in game studios to their country to prop up their gaming industry, realizing that the gaming industry itself is it's a massive moneymaker, right? It makes more money than movies, TV, and music combined. So a lot of these countries are trying to lure people in, and we have a foothold in the UK. So we got teamed up with the UK delegation, and that's why we're over there. So again, this is what's happening. Some of the news that's coming out is some of the big players are talking about what they're doing in the future and how they see. So I'm gonna go through what these big players are saying and what they're doing to bring the gaming industry forward and their presence in it. And then I'm gonna hit some of the titles that we've seen do their early releases of their trailers and some gameplay video and some of the games that are up for awards from the past year. I think there's some fun stuff to see there too. So I'm gonna first, if you've been to any of our town halls, generally we have these at noon on Fridays, at noon Eastern time, which is I think 6 o'clock, or now we're in daylight saving, so it's a little confusing, but 6 o'clock generally in Europe, in the Amsterdam area where we have also a foothold. So generally what I do is, if you pay attention to any of those other town halls, I kind of pick on Microsoft quite a bit because I think they're making a lot of strides, or they're supporting our thesis that cloud gaming is where games are going. They've been saying it for years and years. Phil Spector said it, in 2019 at I think it was a GDC. He said that he knows that cloud gaming is going to be where players are going to go to get their games in the future. They're going to play off the cloud, but a technology has to arise to make this really feasible. It's not technologically feasible in 2019. He predicted it was going to take about 7 years, which is about where we're at right now, for a technology to come up that supports it. And that we would say the decentralized network is that technology. But anyways, Microsoft, they did announce a Project Helix, which is a code name for the next generation. And what was interesting, I think, what they're trying to do, and it's in a way very wise, they're trying to get the ability to stream not just the games made for Xbox, but also PC games to the players. But again, they're still trying to sell this console, this Project Helix console. And then Valve, which never really, Valve, it's rare that Valve makes a mistake. Valve is so good. They're very patient. They've got deep pockets. They're talking about their Steam machine and how they've, I should say that with the Helix, they're talking about how the AMD chip is going to power the Helix. Steam is talking about how I'm pretty sure they're saying they're using Radeon chips. But again, these are both saying here's a console that can also play the PC games, because they realize that PC games, and again, it was bared out by the information from the Matthew Ball report, the PC gaming market is really the one that's growing. The console market is declining. Matthew Ball talks about it in the slide deck that I went over a couple of weeks ago, that PC content sales continues to grow. It is even when you take out the amount of money that the growth that happened in the Chinese market, even without that, the PC market's content growth is still massive, right? Its growth is more than, but not a whole bunch more than, the decline in the console growth, which is to say the industry itself has not grown that much. But what is making its growth is the PC market. So these two groups, Valve and Microsoft, they're wise to start saying, hey, let's get a chunk of that PC market. For us, what we're saying is, again, the PC market is where the players are. We've known this for a long time, or since we really, kind of embarked on our path. And the idea of, should I go out and buy a console and spend that kind of money, to outlay for the hardware, or do I just put that money into buying more content for the PC that I own? You're going to see the PC always wins out. And it's really just very, very easy now to get a good gaming rig and cost-wise. And then people are doing more and more with their computer at home. You can't do that stuff with a console. The console is good for, and it was very good for all those years that your PC wasn't powerful enough to run really great games. But that ship has sailed a long time ago. And I think that we're right to say that the PC market is where the gamers are going to be. So again, our system is leveraging on the back of all those different PC units out in the world. You know what I forgot to do? I did not bring my chat window up. And I'll bring the chat window up now so I can hear and see what people's comments are. So that's a bit of the news out of GDC. I'm going to jump to some of the games I spent a lot of time today looking at all these different game trailers that are coming out of GDC, but then I also, a lot of the previous game trailers from previous GDCs also come up when you do the search inside of like Twitter and that. And I was noting that some of the bigger games that had a lot of splash at GDC in past years, they don't have the staying power. And this is something that Matthew Ball talks about right in his report, is that it's a shame that the gaming titles that are dominant are really the top 6 that have been around for uh, generally over 5 years or 6 years. They're the sequels to the games that were big, 5-6 years ago. They maintain their player base. It's very difficult for a new game to kind of make a big enough splash to grab a huge chunk of audience, and it was kind of a little disappointing to see some of these titles that looking at the trailer from 2024, 2023, they look to me to be amazing looking games, but really they're not, they didn't got the foothold that they needed to. They didn't get the traction they needed to. And you've not heard those names any longer, which is a shame. And again, part of the thesis for what we've built with YOM and Walter GG, as you saw from Yurt's post, is that we want to level the playing field, get the games that are great games but aren't accessible by or not being accessed by enough players, give them a much wider broadcast channel options. So with our network, what we're saying is you can stream your game to any URL, embed it in a URL, embed it in the same way that you embed a YouTube video inside of any website. You can embed a stream from our network into any website too. So that means it can be inside of an ad on a game review website. It can be inside the game review itself. The game itself can be playing there on your company's website, inside of a streaming service like Walter GG. I mean, we really can be the back end infrastructure for Steam when they want to do more with their cloud services. They can use the YOM network, right? We have no problem with partnering with them and helping power their streaming services. Again, it's not very often that Valve just knows what they're doing. They've proven it time and time again. Let me show off some of these trailers that I did find that I thought were really kind of cool. Let's see. So I said that Microsoft was talking to AMD, and AMD's got a great, graphics power chipset. They're really just super powerful, and it really is nice to see that they're they're taking all this all their brain power and putting it into the gaming space. And I think that it wouldn't be surprising to me if you, anyways, let's just say AMD is a great player in the space. But I say all that to also show off what is happening with the Radeon stuff. And this video, let me bring it up. This video is showing us do that, what the Radeon chips can do. And I thought this video was really cool because it showed off. Swap over. It showed off before and afters, which I thought was nice to see. Why did you do that? Oh, because it's full screen, probably. Flop. All right. Am I sharing audio? I don't think I am. That's kind of didn't want to. So yeah, it really does look beautiful. Can I get? What happens if I go large? Yeah, there we go. All right. So the RTX cards, the next generation is just going to be so powerful. We already run our back end off of everything from a 2060 all the way up to the I know the 4090s. I think the 5090s as well. So if you've got one of those cards, and the way that our system works is the more powerful your graphics card is, the more concurrent streams your system can send out. So we say the average stream is about $50 when we're fully when the network is saturated. So about $50 a stream per month is what you'd be earning. Is the average. There's a lot of factors in there, and I'll send you to the recheck website before I make any final numbers. But if you're running a 4090, that means 8 streams at once generally. So you're talking about 8 times that $50 a month is what a passive income could be for your system, depending on the other factors that get involved. But I'll shut up now and let you watch the difference between the RTX on and RTX off in some of this demos. I don't know if that's footage from Grand Theft Auto. It could be. Someone's asking. I was a huge Gran Turismo guy back in the day. So any kind of great racing game. This is a Bond, the new Bond game. Oh, this is the name of the game up in the corner. I should have just looked for that. Yeah. All right. There's a lot of. I'm not going to go through the whole DSN. So then, so that's what the RTX is kind of showing off in the convention this week. Let's jump over to this another game that this is not RTX. So I found this this game's it's up for some awards. It is adult, I guess you'd say. Let me kill the noise here. What is funny, it's winning all this, getting all this attention for its I like the art style. It's very avant-garde, but also the gameplay. What's funny is I had designed in my youth a very similar to at base level. It looks like to me the same thing. The game that I had where you were up in a tower. You were late at night at work, but the office building that you're in is starting to be transformed into a demonic building, and you work your way down from the top floor down to the exits at the base level. And as you go further and further down through the floors, it gets more and more demonic. And you use things like staple guns and like these guys use soda, which I think is kind of cool. I had not had that in my head, but you use other things from the office to battle the demons as they come pop up. I don't know. It's a cool looking game. I thought this was a really nice looking experience. We'll see how this game fares. The awards aren't happening. I think some of them are happening tonight, so I don't know if they actually won anything yet. But that's Severlich. Blueprints also looks really nice, but apparently this was revealed in the I guess the original trailer came out in 2024, but it looks like the game has now been released or getting ready to be released. And again, I go for games that are so we know what the RTX cards can do, but I like what the artists do with what that's apart from just high fidelity graphics. This game right here, I just thought it had an art style that was really sweet. So I'll be checking out Blueprints when it comes out. Let's see, get us out of that one. Ghost of Yoshi. I'm sorry, Ghost of Yote. This one is also up for some big awards. I think it's storytelling. They were saying that a big open world game. I'm gonna kill this down here. Big open world game with a lot of side quests, that kind of thing. They have a big talk about how they kept players engaged in an open world and off of the main storyline path. Because you can, open world game, they've always got a main storyline path, but the real joy to an open world game is letting players discover other kinds of elements in the world that you can interact with that are not, on that main path. I also was reminded of a game called Bushido Blade back in the day, and that was a simple sword fighting game, but it could be one shot, one kill. This looks really good to me as well. So we'll see how Ghost of Yotai does in the awards, probably later on in the week. Split Fiction was the next one that again, another one. This is up for the PlayStation, but I think they're going to be looking to release it on the PC as well. Very interesting premise. The two women you see here are both writers. One writes fiction, one writes fantasy. They get thrown into a VR world, and they have to live through the other's adventures. And so the game switches back and forth between sci-fi to fantasy to sci-fi to fantasy, which I think is a great way to cater to two audiences. We'll see, and it's a cooperative game too. So we'll see if it catch its hold. But again, I fear that this is going to be one of those great game concepts, beautiful looking game, that in 2 years, I look back at the videos for this GDC and say, wow, what happened to that game that looked like it had so much promise, like I did so much earlier today, looking at some of the other games that were up for awards in the last couple of years. Hope it's not the case, because this looks really, really beautiful as well. And I like the concept a lot. And then the 007 game that we saw earlier. This looks, as you'd expect, if you're a GoldenEye guy, it looks pretty sweet. And this is using the RTX, the next generation. Yeah, huge difference. You see the dancing. That part right there, I think it really sold it to me. That when you see the shadows kind of dancing across the rocks when it's off, that jitter that you see there. Let me go through it again. Watch the jitter when it's off. All that jitter on the rocks, nice and smooth. That's the best, to my mind. That's the best demonstration of what it means when the RTX is on. So this is called First Light, 007 First Light, the next 007 game. Coming soon. All right, sweet. Let's jump into some questions. There are some questions that are popping up. Again, most of you, if you're in Europe, you're probably groggy if you're watching it all, or maybe you're watching this as a rebroadcast. You've watched it, you've gone to bed and wake up next morning and realized that, hey, he went live last night. So I've got one. RD Tyndall is saying, I want to buy a Node, but I have no gaming rig for it, so it doesn't make any sense. Kind of true. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. For the people who are wanting to get, like, people are saying, look, well, how do we get a network up and live in the areas where there aren't a lot of PCs available? Well, we have other partnerships as well. We've been in contact with a number of internet cafes. Game studios themselves have their rigs stay idle. They have older machines that they've advanced their team into newer machines, and we can run on the on the 3060s that they used to run. So it's a way for all those companies to also have earn income passively. So we have lots of ways to reach the four corners of the earth with the network. But yes, if you don't have a gaming rig yet and you wanted to power one of the nodes, yeah, you're right, you couldn't do it. There is also those people who are we're building our system. So right now what we do is we ship out an SSD that's got the operating system on there, but we're also making available for those people who want to make it native to a machine. They just buy the machine itself and not have to buy the hardware. We can make a downloadable version of the OS as well. So that's in the works as well. So again, we're many paths to make this network reach out to you. But if you don't have a gaming PC, I'm afraid you're right, RD Tyndall, you're kind of shut out of node operation, but not shut out of the games, because again, the game's just finding any website that's hosting the game, like Walter GG, and you're playing. You saw we got Skyrim up and running now. Let's see if there are any other questions that I didn't cover. Yes, TGE is on the 25th of March. If you're a token person and you're interested in finding out, we have our tokenomics posted, but mostly I think what you want to do is pay attention to all of our social feeds, get involved in our Discord, which is probably the most powerful place to go. We also have Telegram if you're a Telegram person, and then through our X, follow our X and our YouTube channel. You'll get a lot of information from us there. If you're a game studio or a game developer and you're looking for a way to reach a larger audience, you'd like the idea of embedding your game on a website as easy as embedding onto a YouTube video onto a website. I didn't mention, but we also have the streaming happening inside of Canva. So if you're familiar with Canva, Canva is like a better version of a PowerPoint, right? People make decks and presentations to send out to, say, investors. We now have the ability to stream the game inside of a Canva deck. So if you've got a deck made of your game and you're sending it out to investors, but you want them to actually sample the game, you can embed the game right inside the deck, the investment pitch, and it goes out. Mohammed asks, when mainnet goes live, will the YOM services can be played new AAA games with RT on? with real time on. I'm trying to understand the question, Mohammed. It sounds like what you're asking is, will there be games live when mainnet goes live, and will there be AAA games? Yes, that's what we're working on. Getting those partnerships up and solidified and getting their sample version up and running. So yes, we expect that we'll have some AAA titles. It won't be every game that you saw, but it'll be a lot of games. Yes. Is the stream only broadcast to YouTube intentionally? I can only see it live on X. I can't see it live on X. It's not live on X. We should be live on X. No, it's not intentionally only on YouTube. It should also be on the YOM X account. I will go and check that right now to find out what could have happened. If I go to and here and interesting. So it happened about a week ago that Restream and X were not handshaking correctly, and that could be the case again right now because I'm showing us on X in my YouTube browser, but you're right, I'm not seeing it on X as I go there to the account. I don't know why that happened. I'm going to blame Restream, and fortunately this will be recorded on YouTube. I'll just put the recording up on X maybe tomorrow. Thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Dizzy, probably Dizzy. Anything else I didn't cover? Any questions that I should focus on? Don't see. And this could be why I'm not getting so many questions, because X is really where our largest audiences went through these streams. We're also streaming onto LinkedIn as well, because that's where a lot of the GDC information is being broadcast. LinkedIn has the gaming industry is very powerful on LinkedIn. Though again, my LinkedIn has far too many hey, I've just been laid off, I'm looking for work kind of posts. So GDC is usually a good place to go. Also, if people who are looking for a new gaming gig, a new job, this is a good place to go. All right, that's about 30 minutes. I'm going to end the broadcast there. We'll be doing this every Wednesday as well. I think I'm going to try next week to get some of the studios on board from the US side. So the thinking here is we'll do the Friday broadcast gets a lot of the European audience. The Wednesday broadcast will probably pull in more from the States and from overseas, like in the Asian area, Asian Pacific area. And we'll talk more about what the YOM network does, how we are powering the next generation, how we're opening up creativity for all these smaller game studios, and then we're also empowering those big studios to get their games out and soak up more of the user attention that's getting overshadowed by the 5 big players who are constantly just pumping out more and more sequels. All right, thanks everybody. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you again. I'll be up live on Friday at noon Eastern time. I believe that will be, actually, I take it back. It may be at 1 Eastern this week because of the daylight saving shift. So I gotta sort that out. I probably sort that out right after this broadcast. But we will talk again soon. Be good to everybody. Excuse me. Be good to each other, and do something good for somebody when you get a chance. And we'll talk again very, very soon. Cheers.